For this homework, when you have a word problem like this, what I want you to do is circle the numbers. 5 more than twice the number is 53. So 53. It's going to be just circled. Okay? So this is 5, and I know I have 53. In math, the word more means plus. So 5 more, so 5 plus. Then is a turnaround word, meaning if this 5 is in the front, it's now going to switch spots with whatever's on this side. So we're going to do the arrows because that means they're switching places. Twice this number. Twice means I'm multiplying something by 2. This number is what I don't know. I don't know what this number is. If you don't know that number, that's when you put in a variable, any variable you'd like. I like to use x. So 5 more than twice this number, I'm going to go ahead and use x to represent the number that I do not know, the one that I am looking for. Is in math means equals. So I have 5 more than 2 times this number, so 2 times x is 2x equals 53. But don't forget that turnaround symbol. So 5 more than means turnaround, meaning this one's going to go over to this side. They're just going to switch places. When you're adding, it doesn't make a difference, but if you were subtracting, it would. So you end up with 2x plus 5 equals 53. From here, you should be able to solve this. It's a 2-step equation. You draw your fence. You're trying to solve for the number that you do not know. What is the number? So I'm going to cover that with my finger. And I see that 5 needs to go to the other side. So if it's a plus 5 on this side, on the other side it's going to be minus 5. Because it's the opposite. When you're moving to the other side of the fence, it's the opposite. You're trying to get away, take it away to move it to the other side. So I end up with 2x by itself on this side equals 53 minus 5. Okay, 53 minus 5. You're going to end up with 48. And then you're going to divide by 2 so that you can get the x by itself. And you end up with x equals 24. And that's your answer. So, the second part of this homework asks you write the slope-intercept form of the equation of each line. So, slope-intercept really means that they want this in y equals mx plus b. In other words, they want y all by itself. So when I'm solving for y, I'm looking at what is happening on that side. You have 4x and you have the 3. All these things are keeping the y from being by itself. So I'm going to cover that with my finger. And I'm going to move what is furthest away first. So it's the 4x needs to go over to the other side. So to move it over to the other side of the equal signs, if it's a positive 4x here, I'm going to go ahead and do minus 4x. So you end up with 3y equals negative 4x minus 9. To get the y by itself now, you have to divide by 3. Before I do that, do not combine these. This has a negative 9. That's a constant. And this negative 4x, this one has an x. They do not go together. A constant and a number with a variable cannot combine. Do not do that. So now I'm going to divide by 3. And you get y equals negative 4 divided by 3 is negative 4 over 3. I try to use fractions on your homeworks that you can just keep without having to use that math enter. I'll be fine if you have this. x. But negative 9 divided by 3 is an actual number, and that number is negative 3. Okay, so if you can do that on the phone or with a small calculator, that'd be great, but if you kept it like this, that's fine too. So that's the answer for this. Now it's in slope-intercept form, meaning this is my slope, and this is the y-intercept. Same concept, this is in standard form. I'm going to put it in slope-intercept form. I want the y by itself. In order to do that, I need to get rid of the 7x. So move the x to the other side. If it's a positive 7x, I have to subtract it over here. So minus 7x. And I end up with 2y equals negative 7x plus 12. I always like to put the x first because on your test and in quizzes and on the STAR test, you will more than likely always see the x before the y-intercept, the slope before the y-intercept. So get in the habit of putting it before the constant. And I don't have the y by itself yet. I have to get rid of that 2. So we're going to divide by 2, divide by 2, divide by 2. And I end up with y equals negative 7 over 2x. And I'm okay with that as a fraction. You don't have a calculator and it's a decimal, so that's fine. And 12 divided by 2, again, that's an actual number. So 12 divided by 2 is 6. And that's how I would go from standard to slope-intercept. So for this last part, same thing, I have standard. I have to move the x. So if it's a positive 2x, move it over to this side. It's going to become a minus 2x. And I end up with y equals negative 2x minus 1. There is not another number in front of the y. There's nothing I have to divide by because there's nothing here. There's nothing there. So I'm okay leaving it like this. If this was a negative y, I would have to divide by negative 1. But there's nothing. It's positive. That's fine because when you divide by a positive 1, you get the exact same numbers. So I'm just going to leave it like that. Number 5. Same steps, move the x to the other side. So if it's a positive x, we're going to do minus 1x. It goes away. So I end up with 2y equals negative 1x plus 14. See how the 2 is still there? Now I still have to divide it because it has something in front of it. Divide by 2. And everything gets divided by 2. Don't pick and choose. Y equals negative 1/2 x plus 7. I chose this because I see that you don't see anything in front of the x, but when you move it, it's a really good habit to just write negative 1x. Because when you're dividing, it helps to know that you have something and you're just not going to put a 0 here. Okay, and that is it. Steps to remember, if you want steps, the first step is move the x. And your second step is to divide by the number in front of y. Do not combine them here. Don't do 12 minus 7. No, this has an x, this one doesn't. So always, always, always be careful with that. For number 1, good keywords to know. More in math means plus. Than is a turnaround phrase. It's important when you're subtracting. Twice means you're multiplying something by 2. Remember, this is multiplication for me. Okay? Is in math means equals. Study this. You'll have a quiz in class.